Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Lauren Traeger. This weekend, family, friends, and fellow officers are saying goodbye to Officer Tamarris Bohannon. The St. Louis City police officer was shot 1 week ago responding to a call near Tower Grove Park. Tonight, hundreds paid their respects during his visitation. News 4's Caroline Hecker joining us now outside the Cathedral Basilica. You were there as hundreds of people lined up today. Caroline, I'm sure people really felt compelled to be there today.
They absolutely did, and in fact the visitation wrapped up about 15 minutes ago or so, and like you said, there were hundreds of people wrapped around the block coming from far and wide to pay their respects to the late officer's family. And amid the sadness, as you talk to people, you could really feel a sense of frustration as they struggle to wrap their heads around the loss of a 29-year-old husband and father of 3. Hundreds of people gathered at the Cathedral Basilica Saturday to say goodbye to Officer Tamarris Bohannon. The officer's family arrived to a sea of people, wound around the block waiting to pay their respects. Among those people was Elizabeth WIRTEL, a high school friend of Bohannon's.
He was a real close friend of mine, and we just lost touch after we graduated.
Those memories, she says, came flooding back to her when she heard the news.
And at first I didn't want to believe it. I thought maybe that they ID'd him wrong, but when they actually came out with the picture and everything, and I touched base with some family members as well, it definitely hit home.
Others who knew the late officer described him as a family man and one who enjoyed every aspect of police work.
Dedicated. He's been honored, as Officer of the Month. Excellence in his work, dedicated. All he was doing was his job that day, and he was ambushed and shot in the head.
His loss sending a ripple effect through the community he served, many extending their support to his wife and 3 young children.
I think anybody who's had children, anybody who's been married can think of this young widow and her small children and them coming together and finding their way through this trauma.
And for Elizabeth WIRTEL, the sorrow is met with memories she'll cherish forever.
We met up and went to prom together, so their family was close with their family, so it definitely means a lot to me to come out here and support all of them. It's absolutely so difficult to listen to that, but amid that sadness, like I was talking about, you could also sense that frustration when you talk to people, and it was that frustration that was not only felt like the loss of this 29-year-old father and husband, like we mentioned, but also a culture that a lot of people described as just right now an absolute lack of respect for police and law enforcement. Everyone said it needs fixed. They don't know how, but it's certainly a problem they say needs addressed. We're live in the Central West End tonight. Caroline Hecker, News 4.
Yeah, you can certainly feel their sadness there. Among the hundreds of people showing their support for Officer Bohannon's widow and family, Missouri Governor Mike Parson and First Lady Teresa Parson. These pictures were put out on Twitter tonight by the police union. You can see the governor there meeting with the officer's wife. The union also mentioned that St. Louis Mayor Lyda Krewson and Attorney General Eric Schmidt also paid their respects. The funeral service for Officer Bohannon is tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock at the Cathedral Basilica. There will be a procession to the cathedral before the funeral. You can watch live coverage of that procession on the KMOV News app and at KMOV.com. The man accused of killing Officer Bohannon sits behind bars tonight in the St. Louis Justice Center and is expected back in court this coming week. Thomas Kinworthy is charged with first-degree murder and 7 other felony counts for allegedly entering a couple's home in the Tower Grove South neighborhood a week ago, then opening fire on Officer Bohannon and another officer who survived. Kinworthy, who law enforcement had previously deemed violent and dangerous, is being held without bond, but he does have a detention hearing on Wednesday. At this point, we still know very little about the motive.